Well, one of the things that we wanted to do was bring back the big boss fight, and so we built the destination in a way that teases and ramps up to that big fight.
Destination always had in mind like the worm god and like the soul. Like it started with Rasputin, and then I think the next step after that was like, who are we fighting?
Formidable foe.
Formidable foe, yeah.
Yep.
And Vivi definitely is like all about the big bosses. Really wanted to bring a big boss in, and
no matter how crazy you thought
yeah,
we
and
were.
it was the marriage of these two and like making them coexist in a cohesive manner.
So there you have it, guys. From Bungie themselves, Xol is a massive worm god that we will be fighting in the Warmind expansion. Hello everyone, and welcome to another Pyro Gaming video. Let's go ahead and talk about this trailer a little bit more, because it's got some interesting tidbits in it. Let's go ahead and break it down. So we kick off our look at the new trailer by taking a very nice look at Nokris. Nokris is going to be one of the new strike bosses in Destiny 2, and Nokris has quite a bit of lore behind him. First of all, he is confirmed to be a son of Oryx, which would make him Crota's brother, and in addition to that, he is also the herald of the worm god Xol. Xol, of course, will be the main antagonist in this Warmind expansion, as you saw at the beginning of the video. Now, the gameplay that you're watching right now appears to be the boss fight of the new strike, where you actually have to kill Nokris. Now, we don't get a very good look at this boss fight, but what we can see is that it is a large open arena and Nokris has the ability to teleport around, which means this isn't going to be a stand and shoot fight, it's going to be a move and run and gun fight, which is the best kind of fights in strikes, if I'm being honest. Another interesting detail about Nokris is, as I said, he is a son of Oryx, which means that we will be killing yet another one of Oryx's kids. That is the two daughters in the King's Fall fight, as well as Crota, as well as Nokris, and I believe there's even a fifth one that we've killed in Destiny 1 sometime around the Taken King. Long story short, it's a good thing that Oryx is dead, otherwise he would have to just watch all of his kids die. It's really a tragic story, and begs the question, are the Guardians the good guys or the bad guys? Let's be honest about this. But nonetheless, Nokris never followed Oryx. Nokris instead followed Xol, which is a hive worm god, one of 5 worm gods to be exact. Now, in the history of Destiny 1 and 2, we have not yet actually faced a hive worm god. The most powerful member of the hive that we have personally fought is Oryx himself. Oryx was a king, not a god, so we have not actually fought a worm god. Let's go ahead and talk about Xol a little bit more. So as I said, Xol, Will of the Thousands, is one of the 5 worm gods, ancient beings second only to the darkness itself in hierarchy of the Hive Pantheon. He leads the grasp of Nokris and will be the main antagonist of the Warmind expansion. Getting into some of the deeper lore regarding Xol that has not yet been mentioned in-game, Xol originated as one of the great worm gods trapped beneath the fundament by the Leviathan, who helped orchestrate the rise of Oryx the Taken King and the corruption of the Hive precursor race. After Oryx slew Akka, the Worm of Secrets, Xol began to fear that Yule, the Honest Worm, would eventually turn against him in order to gain the strength needed to withstand Oryx. Making a pact with Oryx's abandoned child Nokris, the two fled the Fundament and sought a new world to rule. Centuries prior to the events of Destiny 2, Xol became trapped under the Hellas Basin of Mars before being freed by multiple Warsat impacts in the region. Now, this passage that I just read to you is actually quite interesting because it leads a lot of speculation and it also answers a lot of questions. First and foremost, it answers the question of why we are fighting Xol and Nokris in the Warmind expansion. So to kind of break that down for you, what it seems like to me is that Rasputin has finally discovered that Xol is trapped beneath the ice of the Hellas Basin in close proximity to one of the Warmind bases on Mars. Therefore, Rasputin goes ahead and starts crashing all these Warsats down on Mars to break the ice to essentially free Xol so that we, the Guardians, can then come in and destroy him. Now, as I mentioned previously, this will be the first encounter with a worm god that we have had in all of Destiny. Now, I also said that Oryx was not considered a god, quote-unquote, but rather a king. That isn't entirely true. Oryx was originally the god of the Hive back on the Fundament, which is a gas giant planet where the Hive originated, and the Hive worm gods that were deep, deep, deep below the oceans for millions of years drew their power from the darkness. Now, Oryx, when he was the god of the hive and the quote-unquote creator of the hive, discovered these worm gods deep within the seas of the Fundament. He actually killed one. He killed Akka, which was one of the 5 worm gods. Now, the reason that I'm telling you this is because the 5 worm gods are supposed to be the most powerful of all the hive, being second only to the darkness itself. Now, if Oryx can kill one of the worm gods, and yet we are about to kill one of the worm gods, and we killed Oryx, that kind of gives you some perspective as to what type of boss encounter we can expect to see at the culmination of the Warmind campaign. So Zol is described as a gargantuan worm god. Now, in all the lore, obviously it's all written, and it's not actual pictures or anything like that, so we don't know exactly what Zol looks like, or any of the worm gods for that matter, but you have to assume that the fact that they are called worm gods leads you to believe that they are shaped like a massive worm. So, when we go back to the trailer that we looked at the beginning of this video, you can see that this massive creature looks like a worm, so it is, without a doubt, probably going to be Zol himself, or at least one form of Zol. The hive are known for taking different shapes and being able to change their appearance at will, but it looks like for the most part, this is what we're gonna get. And that is going to pretty much wrap things up for this video, guys. The hive worm god lore is something that I have been begging for in-game, and I'm really excited about this. If you are too, leave a comment below and let me know. If you enjoyed this video, click like. If you're new to the channel, click subscribe, and if you're already subscribed, I fucking love you. Thank you guys so much for watching, and take care.